Hey everyone, it's Sekaar, and today we're going to be going over my Stamina Templar build that I've been using for the Scions of Ithelia Chapter. Before we get started, if you're not subscribed to the channel, please do so. I would always appreciate any and all brand new subscribers. Also, we are streaming live on YouTube and Twitch 5 days a week. If you want to see how these builds are made and how it goes in PvP, come stop by the streams. We start around 11 a.m., 12 in the afternoon-ish, around there Eastern time. So come on, stop by. I'd love to see all of you guys there. So without further ado, let's get on with the character sheet and all of our superstar add-on. So we're going to be in Imperial on our Templar. I think Imperial is best in slot. Between that and Orc, I think are your two best options for races. I personally like Imperial because over that overall reduced cost on all of your abilities, that 6% really adds up, and I just really like it. I think it's really good for your overall sustain. So also moving on, we're also going to be Vampire Stage 3 because Vampire Stage 3 is huge for your overall tankiness. That Undeath passive is massive, and it really makes it so that the less health you have, the less damage you take. It makes you really tanky. We're also using the Apprentice as our Mundus Stone to increase our overall spell damage as well. Our attributes are going to be 34 points into health and 30 points into stamina to give us a max magic pool of 15.3k, a max health pool of 33.1k, and a max stam pool of 21k. So moving on to our gear, we're going to be using Balorg as our monster set. We're going to be using a medium impen helmet and a medium well-fitted shoulder. Balorg, it's going to give us a line of weapon and spell damage, and then also when you use an ultimate ability, you're going to gain weapon and spell damage equal to the total amount of total ultimate consumed. So basically that means if you use 200 ultimate, you're going to gain 200 weapon and spell damage. The same thing for your physical and spell penetration. If 200 ultimate, you're going to be having an extra 23 times 200, which is like, I don't know, math is hard, but either way, you see what I mean. So overall, Balorg increases your damage significantly, and it makes it so that after you ultimate, your ultimate is going to hit hard, and for the next 12 seconds, you're going to be hitting a lot harder. We're also using a heavy reinforced chest of the trainee. That's going to make it so that you have your max health as high as possible, and also it increases your resistances. So please always make sure you have a heavy reinforced helmet or heavy reinforced chest piece on all of your builds. Moving on, we're also going to be using Rush of Agony as our front bar set. We're going to be using Medium Divine's Hands. Rush of Agony is going to give us a line of stam recovery, weapon and spell damage, offensive penetration. And then when you deal direct damage with a blink, charge, teleport, leap, or pull ability, you're going to pull enemies within you to 10 meters. And then after 2 seconds, you're going to be dealing about 10k physical damage to all enemies within 7 meters. And that can occur once every 8 seconds. So it's a pretty short cooldown. And it's really cool to be able to pull people because pulling them in does not give them CC immunity, so you could pull them in and then CC them again with Dawnbreaker. It is a great combination to use, and it is just a really fun overall solo play build to use, and also it works really well in group play as well. It's just an overall great set that I've been really testing a lot more lately, and I feel like you probably are going to see a lot more Rush of Agony builds together in the future, but right now this is really the first one that we're putting together is the Stamplar. I'm having a lot of fun with it. Our back bar set is going to be Wretched Vitality because overall Wretched Vitality makes it so that you don't ever need to worry about your sustain, and I just really like it. It's one of my favorite sets in the game. So we're using a light impen sash for our waist piece. Wretched Vitality is just going to give you a bunch of extra recovery. It's going to give you a line of magic recovery, stem recovery, weapon and spell damage on your back bar, and then while in combat, applying a major buff or debuff to a target grants you 260 magic and stem recovery for 15 seconds. Same thing with a minor buff or debuff. It's going to give you 130 magic and stem recovery. So basically, there are certain abilities that you have on your back bar that can proc both conditions. So something like this, for example, restoring focus, that's going to give you the major buff of it, so it's really going to be tough for that. This is going to give you major evasion, that's going to be minor resolve, so it's going to be tough. I think that for the most part you just want to kind of combo your abilities together so that you're just having both conditions of your Wretched Vitality up at all times. We'll get to the skills later. I just wanted to kind of go over that way you guys can see what I was talking about. So moving on, we're going to be using Medium Divine's Legs for Rush of Agony, and then also Medium Impen Boots for Rush of Agony as well. Our mythic on this build is going to be Death Dealer's Fate, because in my opinion, Death Dealer's Fate is one of the best mythics in the game. The damage you get from getting those overall stacks kind of is better than Markin, to be honest. and it overall pads your stats. So what it does is when you're in combat, you're going to get a stack of escalating fate and up to 30 stacks max. So each stack give you 88 magic, stamp, and health. So when you're at max stacks, all those 30 stacks, 88 times 30, that's about 2,600 and change. So you're going to get an extra 2,600 magic, stamp, and health. So it really pads your stats and makes it so you're a lot just beefier in general. So are you going to be using an infused weapon and spell damage enchantment on there as well? Our jewelry is going to be double Wretched Vitality, both infused with both weapon spell damage enchantments on it as well. So moving on to our front bar weapons, we're going to be using dual wield maces of Rush of Agony. Main hand is going to be Nirnhoned with a shock damage enchantment on it. Offhand is going to be sharpened with a physical damage enchantment on it as well. And then back bar, we're going to be using Ice Staff of Wretched Vitality, defending with an increased weapon spell damage enchantment on it. So before we get to the skills, we're going to go on to our champion points. Our blue slottables are going to be Untamed Aggression, Mastered Arms, Ironclad, and Focused Mending. Our red tree is going to be Survival Instincts, Pain's Refuge, Celerity, and Sustained by Suffering. And then our green tree, I'm just going to go here because the main thing we really care about isn't even in the slottables section. Breakfall is always huge and definitely important. Rationer, and then Liquid Efficiency. So let's move on to our skills now, because that's what the real important part is. So our main spawnable on this is going to be Biting Jabs. It doesn't do the most amount of damage, but if you can combo that together with your other abilities, it does some really nice damage. And on top of that, you're going to be getting Major Brutality and Sorcery, so it's going to increase your weapon spell damage by 20% for 10 seconds. So make sure that's always up, because when you have your higher spell damage, that means you're hitting harder and your heals are hitting harder as well. We're also using Camouflage Hunter on this. This is going to be your source of Major Savagery and Prophecy, so it's going to increase your weapon spell critical by 2,600. And then also we're going to be using Explosive Charge. Make sure you use this morph of it because it's just better for your Rush of Agony builds, because the other morph will CC somebody and you just really don't want to have that extra free CC right there, because you want to combo that with your Dawnbreaker. So we're using Explosive Charge. It's going to be a nice charge towards your enemy, so it's a nice gap closer to your enemies, and on top of that it's going to do a little bit of damage. And on top of that, it's going to give you major protection for 10 seconds, so it's going to reduce your damage taken by 10%, so you are very nice and tanky. We're also using Power of the Light on this build. Now, this slot is completely up to you. I've been using this build kind of to target people down one by one, but also getting group bombs where I can. So I like using Power of the Light because you can really single somebody out, and with the amount of damage that you can output real quick, Power of the Light can really burst somebody down. If you're feeling like you're a little bit too squishy and you have some help with some group members, honestly, I would just put Bubble on here instead. That way you have a little bit more survivability. But this is a great source of extra damage that also puts on Minor Breach to your enemies too, so it's huge damage. Also, we're going to be using Radiant Oppression on this build. This is going to be your execute on this build, so when your enemies are at low health, hit this on them, and boom, secured kill. Also, we're going to be using Dawnbreaker of Smiting because it is one of the best ultimates in the game. It's going to increase your overall weapon and spell damage just by having this slotted because of the Fighter's Guild passives, and it's a nice little burst damage to the combo with your Rush of Agony, and on top of that, it's going to CC them as well, so it's a nice little combo to have the Rush of Agony pull into Dawnbreaker CC. It's a great combo. And then moving on to our back bar, we're going to be using Restoring Focus as our main source of Major Resolve. This is going to be increasing your physical and spell resistance by 6k. Also, you're going to be getting stamina back during that time as well. And on top of that, while the rune is active, you're going to heal for about 1,000 health every 1 second as well. That's going to be scaling off of your max health. So honestly, that's another thing that Death Dealers is going to be helping with as well. Your health is going to be a lot higher on this build. So overall, this is absolutely huge healing. Definitely make sure you have your Restoring Focus out at all times. We're also using Shuffle on this build because I kind of wanted to try something a little bit different. I could use the Psijic skill line and use Race Against Time, and that would help me with my speed because I feel like I'm a little bit slow at times on this build, but overall I really wanted to use Shuffle because with being in 5 medium, I was kind of a little nervous that I was going to be really squishy, but I'm really not because Shuffle is going to give me major evasion, so it's going to decrease my damage taken from AoEs by 20%, so that really helps me with my tankiness. And on top of that, it's also a nice little snare removal. So it's going to grant you snare and immobilization immunity for however many seconds. What is that, 5 seconds? Because it's going to be each piece of medium armor. So for 5 seconds, you're going to get that immunity. So overall, Shuffle's a great ability. Please make sure this is active at all times. That major evasion is huge. Also, Resolving Vigor, this is going to be a nice 5-second heal over time. That's going to get you right back up to full health really quickly. And on top of that, it's going to give you Minor Resolve, so it's going to increase your physical and spell resistance by 3k. Also, Honor the Dead, this is going to be your main burst heal on this build, so this is going to get you right back up to full health very quickly. So between Honor the Dead, Resolving Vigor, and Restoring Focus, you've got a lot of healing on this build because Templar has a lot of healing in general. So it's a great heal to use whether you're at low health or your allies are at low health as well. And then Extended Ritual, this is going to be your snare, not your snare removal, your negative effect removal. I forgot the words for a second. I'm getting to the end of the video. I'm getting to that point where I'm just talking too much. But this is going to kind of cleanse all negative effects off of you, and it just makes it so that you're just not taking that much dot pressure. And again, it's a nice little heal over time, and on top of that, it just gets all those negative effects off you, so you're just not taking damage. It's an amazing ability to use. Please make sure you are using this. Then also, I've got Temporal Guard on my back bar, which is going to give me minor protection. But I know I know at least one of you guys is going to say it right here. Spear Wall gives you minor protection for 6 seconds after you have a Ajax Spear ability is cast, which, you know, you have a few different ones cast. So I know that you have both. But, you know, if you want to, you could put on the Vamp Ult on the back bar, and that would do some really good damage. But I just wanted to keep this on at all times because I'm not really using any other ultimate besides a Dawnbreaker. So just making sure I have the minor protection on at all times is kind of really better for my peace of mind, in my opinion. And that is the entire build. I also use Orzorga Smoked Bear Haunch for my food. That's going to increase my max health and also give me standard magic recovery. And I also use tripods on this build because that helps with your overall just sustain on this. It's great to use tripods. Tripods are my go-to on any kind of build. So again, that is my build. I really hope that you guys enjoy. If you want to see the footage for this build, stay tuned for that part of the video. But also, thank you guys so much for just being here until the end. If you guys want to, and if you're not, please do not forget to subscribe to the channel. Also, if you are subscribed already, please just hit that like button for me. That's awesome. And that's really all the kind of support that I could ask for. I really appreciate you guys being here. Thank you so much for watching to the end of the video, and I will see you guys on the next one. Later.